Attention, we have a problem.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv. Guys, welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, like, share, subscribe. And if you're watching us from rts.video, realtruthseekers.com, yes, rts.video is one of our main sponsors for the Heliopsychosis podcast and most of our coming productions. So make sure you guys check out rts.video. It's the shortest link to get there. So yeah, what an awesome topic we have today. It's one of our favorite technology, right? Hey, Gene, how are you doing, brother?
Hey Vikka, what's up, buddy? Doing awesome. Another really quick week. It's amazing we're here again. You know? Yeah, AI, great topic, bro. And thanks for throwing the show because I know you're super busy. This is your busy time. It's late for you, and I appreciate the show, man. It's always great to be here, brother. Thank you. And thanks everybody for coming too, showing up, hanging out. Glad you find the topics interesting. And AI is going to be another one of those topics, guys, where it could go anywhere in any direction. There's a lot to cover here. And possibilities are endless. And it started in between some like 1950 and 56 when one of these doctors wrote a paper on computerized machinery intelligence. And there's many variations of it. So we're going to cover as much of it as we can and having fun while we're doing it. So thanks a lot, guys.
Oh yeah, thanks everybody for being here. And yeah, the artificial intelligence, right? People think, we are still have to wait in the future for these robots and drones which are artificially controlled and they're going to destroy the human beings. But the truth is the artificial intelligence is already among us in a way, controlling us, right? What they have done with chat gdp, which is just came out maybe a year or a few months, right? And the people are flipping potentials, right? What chat gpt can do. And that is just the basic of the more basic that they are giving to us so that we can start interacting with the AI and till where it can go, right? What technology they have with this artificial intelligence is much more ahead and advanced, right? And for us, this AI looks like magical, right? Or some kind of sorcery, right?
It does. Like when we talk about, you know, just a few years back, it was less obvious how when you're talking to somebody, then the commercial pops up for it within hours or a couple days, and now it's things you're thinking that pop up as a commercial. So, like, what is that? How's that happening? When you don't even say stuff and it pops up in a commercial.
Exactly. It's the algorithms, right? It's the algorithms which knows more about you than you yourself, because the devices we are carrying in our hand, it's totally controlling us through light, through ultraviolet, to different frequencies, right? It looks like magic, no? You just think about a product and that product is coming there, that ad. You think this someone is there sitting and listening to us and sending us this ads and this information, right? No, it's all happening AI, right? It's all just algorithms. And
Right.
this is right, and more basic version, right? And the things it can do and it's doing.
Well, yeah, there's different types of AI, and the algorithms, and like the things like Siri and Alexa and the games we play are those ones they don't really learn. They're limited to what they're programmed to do, and that's just go through scenarios and funnel you into scenarios that will fit what they want from you.
Exactly, because these are just the basic ones they are giving us so that they can have some kind of control through that, right? We all know, right? Everything is listening, even Google is listening all the time, right?
100%. Yeah, you can't even turn them off. And even yeah, you can, but they're still listening. So, what good is it then? It's the perfect way to keep surveillance on your population, though. Invented
Exactly,
by
and
with all these.
exactly, and all the social media, right? Even YouTube, every all of they are using the ones that is available to them to control everything, because there are so many millions and billions of people using internet. You cannot control every freaking device, right?
Right.
But they are doing it. Yeah.
Well, they're all being run through an algorithm. Like every device, every at least from what I can understand, all of these devices have like a twin computer somewhere that everything you do, everything it picks up, every place you've been, every set of stairs you climbed, everything you do on it is being recorded. And to the point where, in other words, like if you're texting someone and you go through this 10 sentence text, let's say, and then they call you and you pick up the phone and then later on you delete that text, that it's still recorded in that bigger computer. So you can't do anything without this phone recording it, in other words.
Exactly. For example, they won't listen to the whole 3 hour podcast, right? To know what the hot words being used, and the
Right.
AI can do for them. And they just flag your channel or whatever, right? Or a warning or whatever, right? Because no
That's
one
so
is
true.
literally
No, you know how you know that? Because, bro, they'll censor this like in the middle of the show if they wanted to, or 2 days later they're going to find something you
exactly,
said. That's really sometimes it's a little quicker than you might think, guys. We've had friends who've had hot words totally dismantle their YouTube pages, and they didn't even know what the hot word was, and it was like, wow, how do you know what not to say if they're going to just be so hurt and offended by these things? And it's an algorithm, so it's a tough one.
so how do they move their narratives, right? How? By these algorithms, right? Because if you see on the internet, you have both sides of the stories, right? On every topic, you would have everything about it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything, right?
Yeah, right. Well, yeah,
So
all
how
the
they filter that, right? Yeah.
same thing. You know, they probably know where to. You know, if we're going up against something in the narrative, they know who we are. They're gonna stifle the bigger ones, and it's all run through a system. Though they're not like you say, bro. There's not someone sitting there watching every phone. No, of course not. That's insane to think that. But you know, they're looking for words. The computer can pick up the words, and it's run through. So if you do a 3 hour show, they can probably run that show in who knows how quick, 5 minutes or something, and run through every single word and find out 2 words you've said in that podcast or that show to shut you down. That's what it's like.
Exactly, because they just transcribe it in 2 minutes and then make a summary out of it, and there you have it. They can literally get the moral of the story of a podcast and say, ban these guys, right?
100%. Yeah, they can. No, with no repercussion either. You can't even. You know how it's. You can't get a hold of a live person at your bank. Probably it's not easy to. I
And the
can't
thing
imagine. What,
is, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
no, I couldn't imagine what it's like if your page gets shut down. What's it like to get somebody to talk to you on YouTube about that? Someone who works there. I couldn't imagine the hoops you got to jump through.
It's crazy. You can't do a shit most of the time, sometimes different cases, but in the end, they make it impossible.
Right? They probably it's like everything else. They just hope you give up because it's so difficult, time consuming. It's aggravating. Nobody
Exactly.
nobody knows the
And
answer. Nobody knows. Uh-huh.
the thing is that most of the truthers, the flat earthers, and many different kind of truthers, which have like literally they're trying to overcome this indoctrination. We all are already fighting the AI, right?
Oh, we definitely are constantly. They don't want us around. They're trying to ruin the narrative, which is artificial intelligence because it's heliopsychosis. It's not real. The globe Earth. So that's right there is like artificial intelligence.
Exactly. We are fighting the algorithms, we are fighting the AI, right? Because they try to shut the truthers down, shadow ban, censor, in many different ways they do that,
Sure,
right?
makes me think of Joe Rogan and his popularity and the people he has on. Joe Rogan's there just to muddy the waters.
Oh yeah, it's just there. But the best part is, as I said even the last time, he just give it away, because when people are talking bullshit, he knows they are both speaking bullshit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because when they speak about whatever space, sci-fi, or anything that is not really connected with the truth, they bring some things, right, that is have truth and reality, but they also have people to push the narrative and the agenda, right?
Right, right, exactly. So he's got both sides, and it's just tricky, very tricky. It's
And yeah, and exactly, and he knows a lot, but he plays his part, right?
exactly.
Like, oh, they're trying to decode things and understand things, is so much a truther, and so much, right?
No, no,
Because
right,
they got that
exactly.
label to him, right? They got that label to him, very investigative, very curious, very everything in a way, right? So maybe what he's saying, you know, have truth, right?
No, I think so. I think so. And then he's got the Neil deGrasse Tyson guys and on his show as well. to try and solidify that point of view. And then he gets the other guys like Graham Hancock who are on the other end of the spectrum, and they're just muddying the water too, though.
Exactly.
Right? For both sides.
And the other thing I was saying, the reason because we are already fighting the AI because of the algorithm is because a couple of years ago I was like very active on my page on Facebook. That's my supposed to be my one of my main platform. My page, Truth in Plain Sight, Vikka Draziv. There are videos which have thousands of comments. Okay, and I used to before even like comment there and speak and debate people, and sometimes this used to go for weeks, and then I realized that this is not real people, these are bots, this is AI, you know so in the conversation or in the debate, I can call it a debate, it's always a conversation, we're trying to questions and answers, right?
Yeah.
So then I realized, so after that I don't comment, right? Yeah, so it also helped me in a way to get in more deeper, because the questions, because from one question to answer to one question, you go deeper on whatever particular subject, right? And that helped me in a way to get deeper on every aspect of any topic on flat earth, about anything, be it radar or whatever, GPS or anything related to flat earth, right?
That's cool, bro. You know what it reminds me of? Because if you're not arguing with these robots, you got more time to free your mind to do realistic things, right? That's AI. And instead of like getting AI,
Exactly.
they're trying to feed you AI and turn you into it.
And you think they're only doing this with flat earthers? They're doing with freaking everything, every conspiracy and everything. They are making people go crazy between each other.
I see them on the space pages, on the evolution pages. Anytime you talk about dinosaurs, they're there, and they're like clockwork. These people, you argue with one for 2 hours, and then you kind of get to a point where you going with this, and then the next one comes in and busts it in, and I'm like, I ain't fighting. Get lost, you two. Get out of here now. Go read what he said. You know. But you're right. Now it's very odd, and they're yeah, a lot of robots. They got those things called click farms, right? Where one person will sit in front of 40 phones and just sit there and goof off with people all day with a mission, man. That's what's goofing around. They're just messing with us. And I
Oh yeah,
doubt
they
they're,
have.
I doubt they're messing with people trying to push the space and dinosaur fantasy, right? They're not doing what we're doing.
Exactly. And every time it's going to be less job for these kind of people, because the AI is taking over everything. Even these people won't, even one would be required to do all this job, right?
Sooner
And
or later.
so the majority who thinks, yeah, they're going to make their life out of this, and right, and they're going to have this work forever. No, this is using them till they can get it more automated, and definitely is much more automated than we can
They'll work
imagine.
themselves right out. They'll work themselves right out of a job. Is what they're doing, because you know what? That's the other kind of AI, and that's one that learns a little bit and can put scenarios together and create a realistic reaction to what you're doing. So there's different types of AI. Like automated trucks and cars. That's AI that learn.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's in
learns.
in in reality, it's algorithms, right?
Sure.
That is
Right. Exactly.
calculating the distance and through the cameras, and right,
Yep. Yep.
and the
The
information
speed.
that is there in the central. Yeah.
Yeah. That calculate all those possibilities, and it reacts immediately to the scenario it's surrounded by, but it doesn't hold the information. It doesn't keep every car you pass. It just has a set of things and possibilities to go with it, and they're doing that at 60 miles an hour. It's pretty incredible. but
Exactly.
but it's still flawed because if a computer chip fries out, the whole system's down.
Exactly. And the industrial robots fabricating things and production lines and everything, it's all AI.
Absolutely. Right, because you can have a robot, but it's either going to work mechanical, like a bicycle, sort of, or it's going to be, like mechanically driven by a computer brain, sort of. You know,
Exactly. Because the software is what runs the hardware, right?
exactly, absolutely. And yeah, we've been dealing with, and all of these things are slowly introduced, so it becomes normal. That's the only way something becomes normal. It's slowly introduced. Because half of these things we're doing, we probably wouldn't really want to be doing them if we had more of the old world style living going on, a little more cooperative in nature, a lot more. No, and not being brought up with history starting with World War One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, right?
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah. So the things that AI is doing and is gonna do, it sounds, looks impossible for some things, right? So, and we know that this is just a fraction.
yeah, yeah. And we say it a lot that the military is undoubtedly a certain amount of years ahead of us. How many years is you can't really determine that. It depends what you're talking about, right? Different things. 20 years ahead in this area. They're 10 years ahead here. They're 50 years ahead over there, and 100 years where we don't even know what they're doing.
Exactly.
So
And
yeah,
in the end, it's all to control us, right? Because you see this new the chat GPT guys, they are made something called WorldCoin, where you're gonna have a digital identification through your iris, right? And it's gonna be like all digital transactions, and the
that's
identification is gonna be only through the iris. Yeah,
well, that's why they got the facial recognition, because if they catch your retina, that's it. It's better than your fingerprints. It's like a DNA kind of thing, and they'll spot that from 250 miles away up in the air in the space station, allegedly. Right? Hey, you
exactly.
know
Because
what,
the
bro?
face. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Iris because the Iris is Siri backwards, right? And you know how they like to play with words and flip things around and everything, and and this Siri is one of those things that's listening, like the Alexa and the Google and your phone.
Exactly. And the facial recognition thing, with the technology they have with the cloning and all the mask and all that stuff, it's easy to fool, right, people with that other technology, which also, if it when integrated with AI, could be like we wouldn't imagine some people that they would be, for example, would bring Michael Jackson back to life to again, right? For example, right? If they want to, right?
Yeah,
As a clone, right? As a robot, right? You see how the Japanese and the Chinese are doing with the robots, with the clones and all this stuff. They still look robotic and a bit artificial, but some are going crazy. You can't even really make out the difference, right?
yeah. Those hyper realistic masks that they got now. That's pretty wild. And then you think about Project Bluebeam with the high tech holograms. A
Exactly.
lot. There's a lot going on. And,
I mean,
it
yeah,
makes me think of when we talk about things like Iris and Siri and stuff like that. It makes me think of Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky. Sirius, right? A lot of you guys might have heard of that. It's in one of the constellations. I think it's Ursa Major, the canine dog, something like that.
right.
Can't remember all of that stuff clearly, but so Sirius reminds me of Osiris, which is from Egypt, right? And there's a band called Alan Parsons Project, and Project alone reminds me of like Operation and Project Operation High Jump and Project Bluebeam, right? That's all like government stuff. So the Alan Parsons Project had an album called Eye in the Sky, and that was a popular song in like '82. I'm not too into the band or anything, but I remember that. And Alan Parsons happened to and the song that was in the intro to the famous song Eye in the Sky was like a 2 minute instrumental called Sirius. So they got an album called Sirius, a hit song called Eye in the Sky, and Alan Parsons got famous originally a few years earlier than that because he was up for a Grammy for producing Dark Side of the Moon for Pink Floyd, which is a really controversial album, right? And it was on Billboard 100, top 100 albums for 15 years. That was a very powerful album, had a lot to say. And then again with the Eye in the Sky by Alan Parsons Project, all the sky and the celestial and moon references and all those songs is just a big like I don't know how to connect the dots exactly. And the reason why I was even looking into that was like a year or two ago when I realized I was looking to connect Alan Parsons with Jack Parsons, who was a rocket scientist for NASA in the 50s, but I couldn't connect those two. But that's how I found out all the other stuff. It just seems weird. They're talking to us like that in these subtle ways with these hit songs and these smash movies and commercials and TV shows. So that's one of the obscure dots I was connecting.
Oh yeah, and there's also even with the internet and you have the www, and there are few other words. I don't remember exactly. There are few other words. Even there's Bluetooth. And there are few which are named behind the gods, and some are
Exactly
Egyptian
right.
gods.
Right. The Bluetooth was some Viking or something like that.
Exactly. So, and there are few from the Egyptian ones, and I don't remember exactly the names, but they are used in the web, for
Yeah.
different.
Exactly. They're going all the way back in history and pulling these names out of the cosmologies and the old stories, and they're using them in today's superficial world.
Exactly, and the games they make. Remember, all the
Yeah.
games they make are all based on their different ancient cosmologies, even the names, right?
Sure. And the premise and the players and the characters, the way they look and the things they do, their powers, their weaknesses is very symbolic and synonymous with a lot of the ancient cosmologies. And if you're not really looking, you never even see it. And you know what? The album cover for Eye in the Sky has the Egyptian eye on it, which was like, oh man, these guys are just telling us. And easy to look right over this stuff. And where does it get you? What does it mean? I don't know. But I feel better looking at that, thinking I understand it the way they're trying to say it. You don't just do that stuff for no reason. And you don't get in those places for no reason. That was a hard one, too, because that helped me realize that, Floyd was in on it. They're my favorite band ever. They opened so many eyes for me. Oh, man, album after album about the government and what they're doing. A lot about that. Very political in that way. So that was a tough one.
Oh yeah, they do. They try to tell us some, So
Yeah, it's their job. Right. I don't think if they wanted to go, I think all these albums, all these movies are very highly um, directed by someone behind the scenes. That's how I feel. And if you want to go too far, they're gonna tweak it in a way that they'll only let you say it this way. If there's any creativity allowed at all, anyway, in the first place. So otherwise, you'd be surprised at how many, especially lately, probably in the past 10 years, how few people write the top hit songs. It's not like tons of artists out there allowed to do this anymore.
oh yeah, and now you don't even need the artist in the future. Even you don't need the artist. The AI is gonna do everything.
Right, bro. That's why Hollywood's on strike right now. Because right, because because the directors are like, oh, you want 20 million? You're out of your mind. We have your picture. Right? Give us the picture, and that's it. We own your face. Go home. And they're like, wow. They're freaking out. I'm like, ah, good, good. That's all. Smoke and mirrors, guys. All of that stuff. Anyway, smoke and mirrors, nonsense. You know, it's all of it is ways to shape how we think and live and act and react to things and people that we might not normally do if we were left to our own devices
Oh
as humanity.
yeah,
Right?
left
No,
to our own devices.
right? No, people are really calm and cool and collected, and I don't, if we weren't being shoved in these little corners, most of them are financial and just these crazy, scary places that don't exist in outer space with aliens and meteors and shortages of everything, and the place too crowded, ice is melting, and it's just one thing after the other, and none of it's real.
Exactly. Times have changed, right? Times have changed. Communication was expensive before. You remember from the time of telephone to telegraph to fax to pagers to mobile, right?
Man, we
And then the smartphone, right? Before communication, projects, collaborations was difficult, was expensive, right?
sure.
Now,
We,
no.
You know what, Vika? We here in the States, we used to have to wait till after a certain time to call anything out of your area code. They got 10 numbers. The first four numbers, 1212, is Manhattan. And the more popular it got, they had to switch the first four numbers up to call the area code. And if you were dialing out of your area code, like from Brooklyn to Long Island, which is really the same island, yeah, you'd pay through the nose if you called before 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah, and the
But
international calls.
yeah. Yeah, I never called international as a kid, but I couldn't imagine, you
Oh,
know.
yeah, in the 80s, 90s, to call internationally, you had to pay like good chunk of money.
Oh, why? I couldn't imagine what they were having people for that. And what could that cost them to run your lines through there? There's storms, they got to install things and storms knock things down, whatever, but yeah.
So calling, and now with the smartphones, you can literally have a video call, right? It's like so much difference, right? So the game is changed, the dynamics is changed in communication, in collaboration, right? In projects, in different things, right? Anybody can become entrepreneur if they want to, because you have the whole world in your hand, right? To this
Right.
technology that is there working because of AI, right? Right before, to make an ad or to do a photography or to do everything was freaking expensive, right? To hire a high quality camera. Now you have one of the highest quality camera in your freaking mobile, right?
Right. You get the videos, different styles. You got access to the internet, which is good and bad because there's a lot of misinformation and misdirection by people who you're supposed to be able to count on. That's unreliable information. But then there's people like, bro, I would never have been able to talk to you the way we talk all the time and get things going the way we're doing things. How would you have been able to do flatten the curve 20 years ago, bro? A completely different world, totally different.
Oh yeah, exactly. As I said, we use their own technology against them, right?
That's what I like about it, right? Because when they open the doors to themselves to find out, to get all the surveillance, they had to open all the doors. They couldn't pick and choose too many. So we got doors open for us too. We got each other now.
Exactly.
And these communities have been around, and some of the older timers are there, and it was harder for them to be able to communicate back in the day. Not a lot of information was really just at hand to sort through and figure out. To get um, what do they call it when they release the information? Slipping me right now. We all use that term, freedom of information.
Declassify or
Yeah,
what? No.
declassified, freedom of information. It was different then.
Exactly. And now it's everything blowing up by itself, right? For sure, mixed with false info,
Joe
with
Rogan.
disinfo. Yeah,
Yeah. See, that's the thing. That's why they got Joe Rogan in the spotlight that he's in, and he gets all these characters that are out there playing the game, and they get his audience. He's got a huge following.
exactly. And this is the thing, right? So, as you say, the Hollywood are complaining, right? It's because this is the thing. You have AI that if somebody don't know how to sing, you just sing in that application and it sounds like you are an awesome singer,
Oh
right?
man, I can't with AI.
So anybody who always wanted to sing, right, and want to create your own album, go look for an AI. You have AI for everything, right? So even for making music, right? And it's crazy how fast, right? And so you imagine what they could have, which is much more advanced than what is coming out right now. So whatever is coming in the near future with the AI and the whole thing, and so even Elon Musk is going crazy with the X and right all the different platforms, right? So everybody wants chat GDP in their business, right? So what's coming? What is coming, right?
Yeah, it's fun to try to read what's going on and then predict what's next. But with all the stuff in the news, like, oh man, it's almost comical. It's a little sad, but it's comical. It's so hard to really know what to feel about what they're doing out there right now with people. Disturbing, that's for sure. Because
Exactly.
if you go on Joe Rogan and claim something, and they can talk a certain way about it, they just gained how many viewers and fans or believers or whatever have you during that one little podcast that he does. It's insane. And I think that is part of the AI, that live stuff like that.
Exactly. So you have all the woke ones, right, who think they're woke, are there getting their information, which is full of a cocktail of info and disinfo and distraction and right.
True. Very true.
So what's coming in the future? We don't know for sure. There is going to be integration of humans and AI, right?
You know what I just heard? Speaking of the future, check this out. I heard that McDonald's, I don't know if they have a patent or figured out. I'm sure they patented it. They get the rights to everything they can as soon as they can. So if it's patentable, but they have a way, we're working on a way to have you dream about McDonald's while you're sleeping. Yep, I heard that this week. Yep, imagine. So you know what? What does that tell you guys, right? Because if McDonald's is announcing that, oh yeah, we're going to try this out, what are they really doing? You know, kind of like with the cloning. They were talking about cloning. They had an ear on a mouse 30 years ago, cloning things, and then they had Dolly the sheep, and they didn't really hear too much about that. It went back into in the cave over there. What are they really doing? That's where the robots kind of come in, if you ask me.
And they could be literally integrating, fusing with cloning and with the AI,
I
right?
would,
It's totally possible. And
sure,
for
yeah.
us, maybe some are totally human.
Well, they had that show, man. I don't know if you remember the $6 million Man, where the astronaut got into an accident and he got, his body got mangled, and they put robotic arms and legs and eyes in the guy, right?
Yeah,
So if that was a hit show in the '70s. So again, what do they really have? If they're showing us something like that in the '70s, and this guy was working for the CIA, the astronaut, right? They're all in cahoots together. They're all having lunch, hanging out. Those guys, they're all the same friends, and they don't hang out in the public.
I think they could be that advanced, which sounds like almost impossible to us, that they already could put consciousness into these artificial biologic robots or AI, right?
Well, they're working on interactive emotions and needs and feelings and things like that with computers. Yeah, so they can interact with us better, and it's harder to tell if you're on with a live person or a computer. Just like on a platform like Facebook, when you're going back and forth, that they'll be able to read how your emotions are and respond to like your emotions. It's crazy.
Exactly. And the other day I saw that it was like you can literally feel the object in that hologram object as a real object.
That's what I heard too, bro. That when these aliens come down, they're going to be indistinguishable between reality and fake, like a hologram. You're not going to be able to tell the difference. And who knows if they're saying it? What do we have already? Are there store owners that are just completely holographs? Like NPCs and non-playing characters,
Oh
literally
yeah,
walking around. Wow,
and all these the alien bullshit they came up with lately. It's nobody cares.
I know. They became so softened up to it through all these commercials and shows and movies. It's like, yeah, aliens, here they
Yeah,
come. Oh man! And
many people are. Yeah,
I don't think that I saw the meme out there. That I believed in aliens until the government said they found them. So like, there's kind of like that too.
exactly. So they're having their own agenda behind it to speak about it again now. But yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I'm totally convinced that what they're going to bring. The aliens are going to bring a mysterious sickness, and you know how that story is going to unfold after the last few years. So hopefully, we learned a little bit from something like that, and enough people. I don't know, man. You know what? I was on a page. I quit, man. I couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, oh man, these people are crazy. But it was a non-disclosure. We deserve to know about aliens or something like that. And they're really really into this extraterrestrial outer space beings coming around. They're all bent on Area 51, which is like just a distraction, if I can tell. There's nothing there, and if there's anything there, they're doing it. The feds are doing that. So it's not going to be things from outer space. They might have things from past Antarctica, but I don't even know about that. I'm not too sure. Maybe stuff from underground. I don't really know, but Area 51 seems to be a big psyop to me. A 50 to 70-year-old psyop or whatever it is.
Yeah, it also could be just to push the globe a bit more because they see that the flat earthers are ripping the globe. So it's just to, hold on to the still sleep ships, right?
It is.
Holy, aliens from outer space, right?
I was into that story too. It was like, what do they have? What do they have? What is, Bill Clinton said, well, everybody wanted to know what Clinton. You're going to talk about aliens. Come on, you're the cool one. Talk about aliens. Never happened. And Ronald Reagan talked about it too. And he was the one, kind of mentioning, but he said, well, we'd all have to get together and band together and fight these aliens. And to me, that's like New World Order. That's a one world thing. That, that that'll help solidify the one world order when these gray little aliens come and what they're carrying with them, and their abilities are going to be so far ahead of ours.
Oh yeah, I think I'm quite sure that these people already have so good technology that they can like really do this blue beam, and it would look like some of the part would look like it would be very difficult for the people to separate that this is AI, flying machines and holograms and destroying places with other techs, combining these techs and freaking destroying places and saying these are the aliens who did that, right?
Sure. Creating wars over there. Now they got to, the two of the worst countries got to band together. That's what I kind of think it's going to get at. All the governments are going to get together and act like one, and with the with places like the WHO and the FDA, stuff like all these three-letter organizations are going to get together on this, and we'll all get squeezed out of it because there's a worldwide emergency going on now.
Oh yeah, they've been feeding us through movies and everything, so and they know the majority will fall for it.
And there's another part of this equation goes something to the effect of, the chemtrails in the air have all these different elements in it, and barium and strontium are two of the main ingredients being sprayed, and they're also two of the main ingredients for creating three-dimensional holograms. So that's kind of interesting. Like, how do you separate those two from being some potential reality now?
Exactly, and on with those frequencies sending directly message to your brain that only you can listen.
I would think so. It'll have
They
so
have
many, right? Yeah, it'll have so many nanoparticles, and it could be, if you get 1 million nanoparticles and you 10,000 of them are going to be able to line up to your individual specifications and bounce stuff back from into you, back into you, right? Control your thoughts, control maybe your dreams. So, not all these particles are going to work for them. The human is a machine, and we're constantly trying to, battle those foreign elements.
exactly. There was few years before somebody tried to patent that, right? Few years
Really?
before, and how should it be now, right?
Wow. What did they patent? What do you mean?
That they try to patent some tech that they can literally send message through frequencies
Oh,
to the
yeah,
human
sure.
brains. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
totally. That's what the
like a
5G.
mass message, like a circular email kind of
Yeah,
for
yeah,
everyone.
exactly. That's what I mean. Like, so if you breathe in 1 million particles, they're going to be able to interact with, let's say, 1%, 10,000 of those things. That's right. And they're going to be able to control what you're doing and how you're thinking. But you got to be strong. You got to know yourself, because we all have the different conversations going on in our head. And, if the wrong one gets in there too much, It's easy to let them in. It's real hard to get them out. That's the thing. You got to constantly be in check with yourself, I think. The TV sends you into all these patents, bro. There's such crazy stuff patented by these guys. And, one of them is like when you're watching TV, you go into the theta state where you're almost hypnotized.
Oh yeah,
Completely, you're completely vulnerable to suggestion and subliminal ideas, and you have no clue. And think about that if you do it all the time.
exactly. And the magical juice they have given to many is a part of it to function in the future. The AI, everything is gonna be like on one day, right?
Man, that could be, bro. If like the 5G towers is part of that mental um, programming you were talking about. They can just send waves out. 5G. You know how many different types of waves they could throw out of those things? I don't know if we have any clue, but those things are powerful. And they claim that all these places were putting up these towers so you can download, a 3-hour video in 5 seconds, and people cheered it on like it's the best thing ever since sliced bread.
Yeah,
And
it's just for the AI to work smoother and faster.
right, and in more ways also. I heard it could be used as invisible fencing. I'm not too sure if that's 100% true, but I heard that a couple times through the years.
Exactly, and they speak about that through the Wi-Fi, they have technology now that they can see through the walls.
Right, that and the cloaking device where you hang that blanket and it shows a picture of everything behind you. That's pretty crazy looking.
Exactly.
So imagine, so yeah, if they're showing people disappearing right in front of you with a blanket, I I wonder about these things in a futuristic kind of way, because we know that whatever is on the street used for entertainment had a much more sinister development process, and none of this stuff is here for our entertainment, really. And it's all AI, it's all artificial intelligence, it's all heliopsychosis, guys. Because who knows how long ago it could have been. Before what they're calling the last reset of the last mud flood 150, 200 years ago. None of this stuff was around. People lived through all those generations without any of this stuff. So we think. That's what they're telling us.
Exactly. It's crazy, yeah, where this is gonna go and how we are gonna face it, right?
Right. That's a good way to put it, bro. How are we going to face this? How are we going to handle it and deal with it, combat it? Because it can't be great. There's these high tech robots. If they're talking about integrating things, when does the soul and the emotions and the compassion go away? Because machines have no conscience, right? That's it. They run on zeros and ones in different patterns, and that's it. They're not going to really understand the emotions, I don't think. They're trying to, but I don't. They're not going to want to do anything in our favor with any technology like that.
Exactly, because we speak about intelligence and the intelligent design, right? Right. Is it artificial? What is artificial and what is real, right?
It's a good point, right? Because even though it's called artificial, it's still being programmed. So
Exactly.
the outcome of what your car does to not get into an accident because of AI is a result of the AI, but it's the only way to get that result is through human input, as far as we know. But maybe, what if there is a computer that could design a computer? You know what? Come on, we really are like, uh, the most complex computer, the most complex machine around human beings. And then I guess would be animals and plants, maybe, right?
Exactly. Like we say, we are the creation of the intelligence, right?
That's what they got us thinking.
But we know that it's very well designed, right? Everything in the nature, everything. And we all know that we everything we see in reality is numbers, right? We see the sacred geometry everywhere. Again, we see numbers, right? And what is numbers,
Numbers,
right?
language.
So language is an algorithm, right?
Yeah.
I know many won't believe or think like this, but it's one possibility, right?
I don't erase it as an impossibility. No, I don't discount it. Like, no way. Yeah, what it's like the remote control car almost. The car doesn't know it's being controlled. It just does what it's being told.
Exactly.
And right, and that happens through thin air, through the two antennas. And we are antennas. We are like a walking radio. And so, when that voice comes in, that signal comes in. Hey, could we be that high tech, advanced AI from the future already? They just haven't told us yet. Imagine.
Or we ourselves have created this artificial intelligence, and this whole creation, this whole simulation could be is created for us to have experiment and enjoy or experience this 3D simulation that we are in, right? And just because everything is organic, there is no technology behind it, right? Or maths or geometry is not behind it. We can see that in everything, right?
Sure. And so many things in nature with the Fibonacci sequence, how things grow.
From our DNA, which is the microcosm, to the macrocosm, we can see the spiral, right? You can see that geometry, that numbers, right?
100%. It's throughout everything in nature. Even like when water vibrates, or when you vibrate sound through a plate and throw sand on top, it, different frequencies vibrate that sand into different shapes. Look like the kymatics, which is some of the windows in the churches and the cathedrals that we see. Some of the patterns of the motions of the planets and the Earth, well, the Earth, of the sun and the moon and planets. It's really interesting how they come up with these things. The alleged movements of some of them too. How they mix in the
Exactly.
science. Yeah, they mix the science with the pseudoscience.
Oh, yeah.
That creates the heliopsychosis.
And the minerals, you can see also in the minerals, animals, every element, right?
Right.
So it's totally possible that we created this game to make this, like they tell us through different movies, The Truman Show, and many other movies, they tell us.
That's a good one, bro. Truman, very popular movie. People just look at it like entertainment, but it's all. I don't think any of that stuff was good. They don't want to entertain us. They don't. They don't have an interest in. They have more of an interest in just keeping us distracted. That's not entertainment.
Exactly. And the numerology, astrology, these are all codes, right? In the matrix, right?
Yeah, some of
What is
us
the
think that.
matrix? Why everybody's
The
everybody
Matrix is.
speaks about matrix? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you're clicking in and out, bro. I was thinking the Matrix is the fake world that they're imposing on us. Yeah, through the movies and the ads and the TV commercials and shows and the Joe Rogan podcast. All that's Matrix stuff.
Exactly, because if you're in what is a simulation? What is a simulation is also kind of a matrix, right? Being in a simulation is like being in the matrix. Understanding the simulation or understanding the matrix, that's how you get out of the matrix, right? Okay, we spoke about the word like DMT, right? Dimethyltryptamine is an alkaloid, right? We know we already had a podcast on that about the pineal gland and what the DMT does. And if you remember, I mentioned word dimethyltryptamine is DMT is also is a name. Some call it Dimitri. Dimitri is the matrix, the matrix. So even the alkaloid is saying,
Oh, that's great.
right, that it's a matrix, it's a simulation, right? Just because it's so organic and it's so beautiful, it doesn't look to us like a technology. That's why they speak about these different simulations. And when we also see the two suns, it's because we are seeing the other sun from the another simulator. And there could be different simulator, as we spoke about. The barriers could be just physical barriers, could be energetic, like some kind of technology barriers, right? So we don't mix up and screw up each other's games, right?
Exactly, like an invisible wall of whatever kind of material. Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean it doesn't make sense somewhere else either. This high tech stuff. Picture someone from 1850 walking into the world today. It would blow the guy's mind. They don't not understand it. Freak them out.
Exactly.
Give them a heart attack, die on the spot kind of idea. Like, wow, where do they walk into some serious alien world? That's think about if we walked into a world from here 100 years from now, we would not understand it.
Exactly. So we could totally possibly be organic artificial intelligence, right? Experiencing this like in Avatar, something very, very similar, right? And we spoke about why Avatar is such a huge success, right? It's because there is some connection that you feel, right? They put it in a different way. How is it happening? But it's a possibility, right? Of we could call it interdimensional moving, like moving between different dimensions through this matrix, through this simulation, through this, right? It's we're just saying it's possible, right? We're not saying it's like that. So a lot in the nature shows us. You remember we also spoke about that one guy that you can literally see through the laser and you can literally see the codes and the numbers, right? And everything, the geometry at its a micro level it's all parents repeating parents. And we spoke about it that even our sky could be a simulation, right? It's like work like a simulation. It moves and like a very programmed way,
Yeah,
right?
definitely very systematic. It's and that you're right. That always freaked me out as a kid. How do we move through this? How are we all moving? The stars don't move. Then that they don't shift. How's the Big Dipper stay the Big Dipper? That was a bug in my mind throughout all my years being a space fan and a science fan, and that was a relief because that helped me realize that I understood my natural instinct was to reject that whole idea because that made zero sense. How we're all hurtling through the sky and the nighttime sky just shifts around all year and resets. And when it resets every year, no matter what point of the year you talk about, it resets. It's the same thing last year was this year. Really? That makes it 10 times, 100 times worse for the heliocentric model. If it resets, you can't have that with everything moving around. It's impossible. There's no way with their story about how it's just too far. And yeah, they do. And 10,000 years ago, it looked like this. And 10,000 years from now, it's going to look like that. Like, stop. It does not. And you know what? They say in some of the stars, they have them shifting around and they reset. They do a little of this and then they go back to their
Exactly,
normal.
because what is the word simulator means to simulate something that's been programmed to you. That's it. You cannot do more or less.
Right? It doesn't learn. It just does what it's told. It doesn't react.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
So
it's
if this
very.
is a simulation and simulator, everything needs to continue simulating. That's why this the life cycles, the periods, the everything is going back and again in the cycle, right?
Does very cyclic, very systematic. Also, there are
That's why
variations down here, but overall, it's cycles and does seem very programmed with variables. We're learning.
exactly. So really, we don't know how far it's gone, the AI, right? Maybe we're doing like a, as you mentioned earlier, Gene, going back to the circle, right? We created all this so that we can really understand that we are what we are, like that we could create this ourselves, right?
I don't see why not. Really, the older I get, because that we're born to think that humans are the top of the creation or evolution, whatever you want to call it, right? And I think the spirit world would tell us otherwise. The mental world, the internal conversation is much different.
Exactly.
Like relationship between you and a tree or your backyard or the sky or an animal, what have you, is the physical relationship, but then there's the mental relationship also. Like I'm into cats. I have cats, and I think they're just totally spiritual animals. And I just love cats. I love animals, all of them. They're just they're just all these different machines running around, and I often wonder, are they more spiritually advanced than us, and we're not being told that, we're not led to think that or believe that, or made fun of if you say stuff like that. But think about being a tree, right? Think about just being able to stand there for 100 or 200 years and just grow without thinking and just reacting to your elements. That's like the ultimate down here, to not be influenced by the outside world other than positive way.
Exactly, because they're enjoying their conscious of being a tree or a mountain or a petrified giant, right?
Absolutely.
They got that role.
Right. And then you talk about time and eternity. What is a blip of time in eternity? Like trillions of years in this world. Like, he couldn't count how many trillions of world is just a blip in eternity. It's crazy numbers.
Oh yeah. So everybody has got a part to play, and you have levels, and you have many options and free will to go up the level, right? Because there's always that you have to achieve, you have to get better from where you are in your previous class, right? Or your previous life, or
Right. Yeah. In your previous day, all of it. Right, bro? Everything. Your next
oh
gen
yeah.
ever. Right. Yeah, definitely. It's all about growing and understanding more and handling situations better. And I think that the spirit world, whatever you want to call it, they're watching what we're doing and they're helping guide us. They know that the other side is throwing potholes in the road for us, and they help guide us through the potholes, over and around them. And we have decisions too. We could run the potholes over and get flats in our tires of life, and we got to fix them. And sometimes we stop the car and get the branch out of the road because we know it's coming. And right? Does that make sense? So the influence coming from the outside world or the inside of our head is like, truly is like the ghost in the machine here.
uh, exactly. And you remember we were speaking about that in animal kingdom, if they learn something new, automatically the whole species know about it, right?
Right, right. The what is
E-
they call that? The 100 monkeys, I think, with the collective consciousness.
exactly. So the animal can do that. You know who else can do that? It's the AI. Because imagine you put one information, for example, right? Just for an example, you put some information in chat GDP, and many different AIs will know that information, right? Instantly, right? So if the animals can do that, if the AI can do that, you think we humans are not capable of it, right?
I think so, bro. We're all reading the waves in the ether, and for sure, some people can read them way better than others. You can see it. Some people are just more in tune to things than others. That's our gifts and our strengths showing.
Exactly, because the collective consciousness, through our collective consciousness, unknowingly or subconsciously, we are manifesting what we are going through right now in the world. And everything can be changed through the collective conscious. If we don't think, and if we don't see this world as it's going now, what is going on, we need to change from within, that the good manifests, right? We humans we have that. It's a part of the technology. We have that built in us, like animals or the AI. We are also kind of a biologic AI, and we could, right? we are not discarding any other way or belief or faith or nothing. We're just for conversation and discussion purpose, right?
Oh yeah.
That it's one of the possibilities, right? So, they speak about these meditations to bring peace and calm in the world, 5,000 people, 10,000 people. Yeah. But it's more about our conscious as a whole together, right? For the things to really change. So it's one possibility there.
I like that possibility. I see a very peaceful world around us, just waiting to happen, without all these superficial governments and rules and regulations that people would never really need if they weren't if they didn't have us convinced we do. They're scared of everybody, and it's just I don't have faith in what they did to everybody. You get people aside going one on one in small groups. People are good. People in crowds, it could be different because of what they got us thinking. Now, if it was 10,000 years ago, let's say, or 1,000 years ago, without these people in charge, the way they got us thinking and acting, I don't think the bigger crowds would be so, crazy and maybe out of control. Hey, what was that movie where they gave everybody 24 hours to go out and kill someone, and it's all forgiven? You got 24 hours, go do your thing, and nobody did anything. People were like, "Yeah, you know what? I ain't gonna do that. I'm not that mad." It's like people went out and celebrated for some reason, right? So I don't think that people are really these crazy, ready to snap animals that they got us out to be. And maybe it's happening, maybe because it's what they got us going through. So maybe it's reality right now, but I don't think it would be that way without them doing it, making it happen.
Oh yeah, the dogs are going crazy behind. I hope it's not too loud.
Yeah, aliens this week, Vika.
Oh yeah, I'm not watch out, but yeah, definitely sometime it just happens, right? Strange lights, the dogs
That was
go crazy.
crazy, right? And all the dogs started going nuts. That was pretty wild. Hey, here's a cool thing. My wife taped the coyotes outside howling, and you could tell they're yipping and yapping from all the way to the left, all the way to the right. They're just all over the place. Bunches of them. You couldn't even count how many there were. And then all of a sudden, within like about 2 seconds, they all just stopped. It just all stopped. It was really weird. And then the silence. Then you started hearing the crickets. It was really, really interesting how they all just stopped like that, all almost at once. Really cool. And there was a bunch of them too. You couldn't count them. You couldn't say, "Oh, there's probably 5 of them out there." No, there was like more than 10 or 15.
Exactly. So this is the thing, right? People, we don't need to take people seriously on social media because we even don't know if these are real people, right? So don't, right? Take it easy, right? We know it's coming. The AI is coming. It's taking over. It's gonna do a lot of things that are gonna really astonish us. It can already do things that can astonish us, right? So, and it will. Um, the fusion is also inevitable, right? And it's possible that this artificial integration with human and moving a conscious to some clones or totally artificial robots, right? So everything is possible. It's maybe they already have this all these technologies that we are speaking that it could happen in the future. They're just giving us breadcrumbs, right, with a bit of the coming ones. So I think we have to be open to that. Like as I said, we are already actually fighting the AI, the most difficult one, the algorithms, right? We're already fighting them, all of us. They have the artificial intelligence, they have the fake mainstream media, right? They have the gatekeepers. Everything is working for them against the truthers, which almost sounds impossible for them to keep seeking and spreading the truth. And they have a very easy tech to do that through all the media and social media platforms and every other way they try to do it with the TV and everything.
Yeah, Vika, you know
So
what? That's a good point, man, because what do they even tell us that the best way to brainwash someone is to repeat the same lie over and over,
exactly,
right? So you just mentioned all these different platforms and all these different people and all these different ways, and you're hearing the same thing over and over, reconfirming, you know, that this lie is real. And when you're going against 25 TV shows, how many different movies, how many different broadcasts, and you got to go against everything going on. But I wouldn't have it personally. I wouldn't have it any other way.
exactly. So the people need to have an open mind for this. Maybe in the future it's going to do things that we can think, oh, this is a superpower being or entity, and it could be just an AI, right? Totally possible, right? So
Sure.
we know it's going to be difficult. Yeah, we know. Yeah, go ahead, G.
Well, they have in the gymnasium they have what looks like a whale jumping out of the ocean. And if I haven't seen it in real life, but the video looks really cool. And some of the billboards in the biggest cities that are like jumping out at you, pretty cool looking. And yeah, it's all just scratching the surface of what they really can do, what they're gonna do.
Oh yeah, the people need to be really, really know how to filter the truth out of disinfo and indoctrination, because it's gonna get real. It's gonna get difficult, because what they're trying to do is they're gonna try to phase out every time, like tightening their grip over the truthers until they all are phased out, and they could manage the ones that are the ones they can, right? And the AI is doing its job in every way, right? We know they can program some of the AI how they want. Because if you speak to ChatGPT, hey, the Earth is flat. No, the Earth is not flat, right? But even the AI, the ones that are available, can't give us proofs, can't show us experiments, can't show us observations, can't show us real photos. There are many things, right? So they are giving us the programmed AI, right? They're not giving us the real one, which knows a lot more truth or many other things that they don't want the majority to know, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like you were talking about the two suns. A lot of people are seeing lately. That's kind of new, but it's been around. Mastercard has what appears to look like those two suns on their logo, the yellowish and the orangish one.
Exactly. And some people think it's a reflection from the dome, this, that, right? Or lens glare or any other
Well,
thing.
I could understand some of that, but I've seen a couple where both. It could be CGI too. You got to be careful. But I've seen a couple where both of those suns are leaving reflection on the water, which I thought was a good detail to put in. If it was fake,
Oh yeah, there are signs. There are many different signs like this, which shows because as we speak about portals and doorways, and how the hell is that gonna happen in an organic way, right?
don't know. The way they explain space. You talk about portals and stuff like that. They'll tell you that a black hole can appear right in front of you. So that's what that reminds me of.
Exactly, and the frequencies and everything that you can see if you're on that right frequency, or you can hear if you're on that right frequency, right? You
Yeah.
don't even want to go back again in the details, right? So you can literally perceive other worlds right in front of you. How is that possible? How is it fusioning together and it's separating itself? And I can see it, you can see it, but somebody else can see it or access it or communicate or share or exchange.
Or even understand.
Exactly. The
That's what.
fabric,
Yeah.
right? It's right
That's
there.
right. Right. That's all the vibration they're at, and your ability to understand things that you're not taught, that you haven't been shown, might have been feeling. You trust your inner gut feelings, guys.
Exactly. We're not trying to say that any religion or any faith is wrong, right? It's
No.
just it's just a part of the creation that it looks, how it feels, how we perceive it, right? all
I
the
think.
all the all the messiahs or the prophets or the saints who came were just the protagonists of the simulator, right? Artificial intelligence, right? Who has come to give you the information for you to evolve in this collective consciousness, right? Because in reality, we as human are all passing the same kind of vibration or vibe, you want to call it, or the journey we are living through at the present moment. It's a whole freaking movie for everybody to go through for that evolution, personal and collective. It's just a possibility. I'm not saying it's like that. So, yep, we see what happened, guys. We see what had happened, and yeah, it's gonna be every time more difficult to separate things because yep. Go ahead, Gene.
I think. If you're on the right path, it might be a little easier to separate them because you're willing to understand that the reality they're being presented with is not the real reality that we have to have. It's all these taxes and rules and regulations by these guys, people so-called in charge. They're just like you said, if they're just doing it for control. They get off on it for some reason. Like a bully in the park with nobody around, but one big kid trying to push everyone else around, kind of.
Exactly. Even for the most intelligent people, it's gonna be difficult. It is difficult. You see all the bullshit we see. They can just change the narrative in one way or other with one fake freaking video. So what we can imagine what the AIs can be doing and they are doing, and the way they are controlling the whole masses through all this tech and this device and this social media.
Sure, and we've said it before that all these crazy things they get away with, all the NASA stuff with James Webb and all that, blah blah blah, everything else that go on. There's a list and list of things NASA's doing to create this fake reality.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
that's just right. That's just one section. That's just one faction of it.
Oh yeah. So the same way we use their own technology, which they try to control us, they are succeeding in many ways. We use against them, right? So the same way with the AI needs to be done, right? Filter things the right way and try to use it to your favor, to for the quest of the truth, how we can reverse it and use it for the truth, right? That's the whole, and how we continue without these manipulation and control, the way they are getting more good at it. Because everything, I even see like the generations we had from the 60s, 70s to now, and all the different generations and all the bullshit every generation had to go through to come to this stage right now, and on the future generation that's going to come. So it's all, yeah, it's a whole simulator that is unfolding itself. So we all are also playing some part in this. So what goes ahead and what's the outcome in the future also depend, right? Every generation played its parts, are gonna playing its part, and it's gonna play its part if it continues, if the humanity continues and just don't destroy themselves, right? Or the controllers, right? So yeah.
Yeah, it makes me wonder about if these extinction events that happen apparently way more often than they'll give credit for in the narrative history, as opposed to what appears to be a more realistic history. That it's these extinction events are a lot closer in time than we've been told and led to believe. So it kind of makes me wonder if they can control it in some way, because they got the mud flood, which seems to be like a vibrational liquefaction, and that's physics that you can do. Where if 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 dirt gets too watery, it becomes mud, and if you add vibration, the stability becomes decreased by like I can't tell you the factor, but once you add like let's say an earthquake or a 5G vibration to a stable mud, it becomes unstable. And that's what seems like something like that happened. When you look at all these buildings that got mud flooded and they got layers buried, and some are deeper than others. And so it just makes me wonder if maybe they were in control of some of it, or they're trying to reproduce it. Because a lot of the things they do have for us, or these technologies, are the cheap reproductions of what could possibly be a great world, you know, like we talk about having to send pictures right over from New York to Spain, and we don't miss a beat. I could send it and hardly miss a sentence in the conversation before you get the picture. It's right
Ex-
there.
Exactly. Nothing is new under the sun, right? So this is could be just one another cycle that we who are incarnated in this time needs to go through, right?
Oh, sure.
And technology wise, we know there was so much of technology hidden. There's so much of technology destroyed. The evidence of those technology was destroyed, right?
Well, yeah, and how they were doing certain things, making those buildings, cutting that stone, transporting that stone. There's a lot of mysteries tied to it. Um, but I would think that they have that technology, so they just don't give it to us. I don't think they would destroy it without having it. Like
Like destroyed means they kept it for themselves, right? They
right,
don't want
yeah,
the people to know, just so that the people know that some of the books they have hidden, which they call that is destroyed,
exactly.
is there are more than 1400 books on technology in the last 3 to 4 thousand years, which has been hidden. Okay.
That's crazy. The technologies, bro. That if we had all the directions and everything to get from point A to point B, we might not still understand how to do that.
Yeah, you imagine amount of information in 1400 books about technology that's been hidden, and it's said that been destroyed. So
Yeah,
we even
that's very
don't can
odd.
imagine what kind of technology could exist
Wow.
that they're hiding from us.
That's what they
As
like the narrative. How many different cities burned down to the ground? Oh, caught fire. The cow knocked the candle over. This, that, lightning hit a tree. Blah 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 blah. Countless cities burned to the ground for different wars and people and reasons, and not a lot of it makes sense when you think about it.
exactly, and the ones who are hiding this from us, we could say easily they could be more advanced than us than right now, more than 2000 years. Can people imagine 2000 years advanced than us? So yeah, thanks to AI, they are doing their best to keep everybody sleeping, to keep everybody like distracted, to keep everybody like fighting over each other through religion, through politics, through bots, to
Race,
every way, so that the people really
financial.
don't understand what they are hiding from us, and they're just giving us breadcrumbs for us to like crawl ourselves like to to continue the journey, right? So they're like totally like having success over it, and the amount of indoctrinated people are there who buy anything, so
That's true, Vika. You know that they are. The algorithms are gauging how many people are, let's say, cheering on NASA and cheering on all the
oh yeah.
naysayers, right? And if they know, let's say there's right, say there's 1 million people and 1% don't cheer them on, and then they know that's how much they can get away with. So if there's 1 million people and half of them are not cheering them on, they know they can't get away with that much because they're not believing this part of the narrative.
Exactly, and they're definitely getting their ads of the NASA T-shirts and all this stuff, and Star Wars toys, and
Dinosaurs in space, and oh, you know what I saw? My wife showed me today, bro. A blanket set, queen size blanket set. You got two pillowcases, a couple of towels, fitted sheets, maybe a cover sheet, and it was $140, designed by NASA, with the special technology that keeps all the germs off and it keeps the temperature at something you're gonna love. $140.
Yeah, and magnetic levitation, globe earth, all these good products.
Right, right. And the Mickey Mouse movies, all of this stuff. It's just grooming because, as an adult, if you didn't know anything about the narrative heliopsychosis or the spinning ball and outer space theories and Big Bang and dinosaurs, if you didn't learn that as a kid and you never heard of it and only got taught this stuff as an adult, you'd probably just laugh at it. And because your kids being taught in school, we laughed at it, but we just thought it was real. Like, how gravity pins you to the earth as you're spinning around, and everything has gravity. Oh, you have gravity. The dust has gravity. Everything. Towels have gravity. And it's crazy nonsense. There's two different types of gravity we're talking about, right? Like where mass attracts mass, and then big masses bend time and space. It's just madness on top of madness, guys.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and also people are capitalizing on this indoctrination, as we mentioned, with their fake images of James Webb and all these sites and all these articles and all these pages, so they have loads of traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot of fans out there, but there's a lot of bots on those pages. I was having a couple of conversations in the past couple of weeks, and you could tell they exhaust you, and then the next one comes in and tries to hit you from a different angle. Like,
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's just what is coming ahead, guys, and what is coming ahead with this AI and all the things it can do and how things are gonna get very interesting. So as we said, they just want us to focus in different places whenever they want to. So they have many different ways for us to, for the majority to keep them on the track. They want the majority to be right. So artificial intelligence, right?
I was in a store like a week ago, a grocery store, and there was a robot in there, one of those, things rolling around the store, just looking around, stopping and rolling around slow, and it stopped right in front of me. So I said, "What are you stopping right in front of me for? Get out of here!" Like, I'm not gonna be nice to that thing. Not at all. I'm opposed to all of that stuff. And then I'll like cover my eyes. I'm like, nah, I don't want you looking at me. You're not reading my eye retinas. You're not. And that's another thing, guys. Think about this, right? The iris. We were talking about that earlier with Siri and Osiris and Sirius and all that stuff. And what does your eye look like? It's got a black center, the rupus nigra. It's got the colored center part in a ring. That's your iris. That's where we live. And then the white on the outside. That's supposedly like an Antarctica type idea. But I think and look, what's past your eye? There's way much more of you past your eye in that scenario. So that's why I see similarities in things.
Exactly, and it looks like a dome above, and the lens looks like a dome, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, very cool. So the similarities are just like so striking to me, and I like to be in that kind of world where the electrons and electricity are trying to talk to us. Anything can be
Oh
communication.
yeah, the electricity, right? The electricity, if everything is supposed to be electric, right? It's supposed to be a battery, right? The
Yeah,
vortex, the toroidal field, right? All the
yes,
movement of the
sir.
celestial bodies, yeah, yeah. It's all
It's very yeah, cyclical and looks like a design.
and
Well,
very technological, right?
very.
Why we see the stars and the sun and the moon, and on the earth or aliens and all those lights, and why we get so excited when we see lights, because lights, right? Lights.
And
It's all
wavelength.
electric, right?
Yeah, it's all different electric wavelengths. All of it, everything, sound too.
Exactly. The water works as storing electricity. The earth works as a battery. The atmosphere is filled with charged particles and electricity, right? So everything moving above, right? Does it sound like a technology? Yeah, it does, right? The trees, animals, minerals, everything we spoke about, right? So its biologic looks very organic, but it's a technology. As you mentioned, we humans, the difference between a robot and every muscles we have and everything, how we work, it's a engineering design, right? It's organic, it's biologic, but it looks very technologic, right? Very advanced in a way, right?
The human
So
machine. You know how many different tools and like earth moving machines and tractors and backhoes and all that stuff is designed after either human mechanics or insect or animal mechanics. Almost all of the machines are designed with the mechanics of an animal involved,
oh yeah,
or
up
an insect too. The insects have a lot of influence on, like like John Deere and the caterpillar machines. Like, look at the names, Deere and Caterpillar. All right, maybe
exactly,
Deere would.
and at a cellular level, right? The cells itself moves and looks like a machine, right? We spoke about the in one of our podcasts about the Darwin's descent from Darwinism, right? The the motor flagellar.
Oh yeah, gear system.
Yeah, it's like an
Right.
intelligent design. It's a machine.
Come on, man.
So
These are the little things that blow evolution out of the water. Besides all the symbiotic relations that one can't exist without the other beforehand. But now those complex, gear system in the leg of those crickets. Come on, absolutely designed.
exactly, exactly. The whole our whole system, our physical body, our energetic body, our astral body, everything, right?
Yeah, all of it, bro. It's an amazing
It's a
machine.
high tech, like as you say, the frequency we are receiving, right? So
So now, right? Can you picture? Remember those? I don't know if you've seen on TV years ago. They had those battle bots where guys would build their own remote control cars and go fight them. You ever heard of that?
right, yeah,
What? Right. So what if that's what we are, and we're here fighting for a bigger cause, for something, right? Because we put us on top, thinking that this is the best there is. We reached the pinnacle of humanity, and I think there's nothing further from the truth than that if you look into the past. But now you take it a little bit. No, I don't know about further, but like alongside of that, what if we really are being controlled, and the ghost in the machine is really true, and there's just bigger purpose than walking around on flat Earth trying to convince people where they live versus what they've been told.
exactly. And there are people who could jump between these different simulations, right? Just because they
Sure.
are on that frequency, and it's a technology, a time
Exactly.
machine, right?
Wow. Very cool.
Organically possible, right? So it's an intelligence, right? Even though if it's organic, it's an intelligence. We can call it artificial because it's in 3 dimension, right? But our true selves from part of the creator, right? We are a small part of that creator, right? We are here to experience this. So,
Well, I think this place is great. I'm having a lot of fun down here trying to figure out the narrative after being such a big fan of a lot of what they were saying for all those years. And I was out there pushing that stuff too, telling all their fantastic distances and numbers and, all of that stuff was just a lot of fun, which really kind of made it easy to understand how it's not true when I just started to think about it a little differently. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to look at this flat earth thing. I'm not going to try and defend the globe. I'm just going to look at it and say, what do you got? Like, all right, hold on a second. Let me do this in a way because sure, you can go. And I went right to NASA, like the godfather of all the information coming out. And it was pretty easy to go, oh, uh-oh, Houston, there's been a problem, which is cool. So, in a way, it's good to encourage. Go ahead, keep looking. Sooner or later, you're going to find the flaws. And for me, once the curtains fell, I was a big fan. I had no intention of being a flat earther. I had no intention, and I was blown away. Very
oh
cool.
yeah, I think we no one had an intention, right? We found it and we resonated with it and we stick to it, right? As we spoke about, we could have spent our time doing whatever other topic, right? And maybe taking advantage of this sleep mass and do videos about aliens and space and there are
No,
many, right? So
just too many.
so but we chose this way because we resonate, right? So and whoever all our flat earther community, right? We are stick to this because that's what we know the truth, right? And the way these people are trying to push it just makes it more real, right? Because in
Big time.
reality, there is no competition of globe Earth and flat Earth, right?
That's true.
Right? It's just
Yeah.
so absurd, right? Yeah.
You can't disprove the globe, really, or evolution because neither one of them have been proven. So you can't disprove it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nah, but
So, yeah.
it was really great to have it fall apart. The weight that got lifted out of my life and my personal self is like things that I didn't even know were there, and it just gives you a lighter sense of life, I guess. Where you do have a purpose, and there are more possibilities afterwards too, and before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It all counts to the contribution, right? So, and the AI is gonna be there working, trying against us. So we have to see how we can corrupt it if it's don't start spitting out
Well,
the
that's the
truth,
thing.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You get the truth out and have people understand that what they're thinking is not exactly right. So come over here and look at this, and that'll help switch the algorithms. Because, like I said, that if they got less people cheering these things on, they're knowing that they can't get away with this stuff anymore, and then they're not going to be there. So they're gauging what they can get away with by these fans cheering this nonsense on. That means they could just go further, because if you believe that, you believe the next thing they got coming up, like the alien agenda and stuff like that. So if we weren't accepting of all of this as humanity, they wouldn't be able to do it because it'd be too ridiculous. It'd be like showing us something from 100 years from now. Everybody'd be like, "No, no way, it can't." So they got to soften us up into it, little by little, drop by drop.
Oh yeah, all is interrelated, right? And that's how they
That's how they operate.
put it out, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, people, there you have it. Like artificial intelligence. Yeah, we just have to like the most important is separate the fake from the reality, the information from the disinformation, right? The lies and the truth from the lies. And it's going to be very easy to doubt or go on the wrong track. And many will, and many that walk also will, one or another way. So it's going to be difficult, especially with this technology and these devices, right? And the graphs that it has
Right,
on humanity right now. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, bro. And the people that they got pushing all these different narratives that are not true in high places.
Oh, yeah.
Right, we're taught to, that these are the ones you listen to. These are the ones who know better. They did the studying. They went to the right school. They got the right piece of paper hanging behind their desk. These are the ones we respect. But the more credit they take away from themselves, the better off we are. Well, I hope, because sometimes there was a couple of times I thought, oh, we got a home run here. James Webb is just crazy. People were just cheering that stuff on, and Parker Space Probe, and the craziness that they offer. Like, oh wow, that didn't. Hopefully, that gained us some popularity and the reality, because some of the stuff they have going on, the helicopter on Mars, Parker Space Probe was the one that flew into the 1.8 million degree part of the sun, and it just did a flyby. It's just going to do it again, and that's insane. They got special heat deflectors that know where to point to the sun and deflect the heat. And it's like, oh man, come on, you're hurting me, you're killing me. But people cheering it on. I'm like, oh wow, wow. That's this. It can be rough, But you know what? Remember what you were saying, Vikka, like last week before that, up to 70 or 80% of the people could be CGI, or what do they call them? NPCs, non-playing characters, and like, wow, that's a
If
look at
you're
some crazy.
if you are asleep, you are a non-playable character. That I think is the more simple truth to that, right?
I get it. That makes
Because
sense.
you are like a living and working
Mm,
zombie, right?
you're right. You're a
Just there in
superbot.
their machine mind as a robot, like like
That's good. Yeah, that's a great analogy, bro. Yes. You're falling for all the nonsense, and yeah, what are you doing in reality? Nothing but filling up space, giving
exactly.
giving them fuel and taking up room. And, wow, very cool.
And they've made life impossible without these devices, right? And in all the way it's working to keep these robots in line. Soon it's going to be implanted and you don't need it to carry it anywhere.
Ah, I don't know. They're gonna. That could be the alien agenda where they mandate that the chip in your hand, where everything, your license, your bank account, your history, your school, everything is there.
Exactly, your crypto, right? Yeah, it's to control the monetary. The whole thing is just going for it, right? In the next few years, we're gonna see more things
I
getting
hope
more.
not. You know what happens in China right now? If you're linked up to the system, you cross the street at the wrong time. It reads your eye, and it takes money out of your bank account immediately because you're jaywalking. You broke a law. They pull your bank account up. They take the money out, and then your face gets plastered on the screen. There, this guy just got a ticket. Boom! Now your face is up on the screen. Everybody can look at you who wants to. That's what they want. So then what do you got to do? You got to go work more to make up more of that money, break more laws because they make it impossible not to. They would love nothing more for us all to wake up with 12 felonies tomorrow.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh yeah. So this is the thing. Yeah, we have to take care of the artificial intelligence. Yeah. Anyway, guys, yeah, I think that's what we have for tonight here about the artificial intelligence. Like, make up your own mind. You know, there are many different aspect we discussed tonight. Like, it's integrated in everything, and it's gonna be like almost impossible for us to differentiate many things coming in the future in all different fields, in all different ways, right? So we have to keep an open eye and also open mind, because who knows, maybe we ourselves could be artificial intelligence, biologic, organic, right? So yes, that's true. RTS is saying stay tuned for awesome things to come. Oh yeah, definitely, guys. Stay tuned on RTS. Also, stay tuned on Truth in Plain Sight. Also on different platforms on Facebook, because yep, a surprise is coming soon. Yeah, so you can find out what that surprise is maybe in a couple of days. Be tuned on RTS or on our platforms, Facebook, wherever you connect with us, and we're going to be sharing a link for that surprise in a couple of days. Not too much. In a couple of days, we're going to be sharing a link where you can find some surprises coming. Right,
That
G?
sounds cool. That sounds great. You never know what the future holds, right? Hey guys, you
Oh
know I want to
yeah.
mention to everybody that RTS is the guys behind the scene here doing all the artwork for the show we do tonight, Heliopsychosis. So I think it's a fantastic job that Marcio does over there with his team. If you guys are not sure who Marcio is, he runs RTS. He started it, and it's a very successful page. It's like its own YouTube on steroids, guys. They don't. There's no censorship there, and the library is pretty amazing. It's really amazing. A lot of different people getting on RTS nowadays. But Marcia, you do a great job on the artwork there, brother. I really, really enjoy it. I'm always looking forward to seeing how you present the page with the topic we're doing, and it's always very cool, brother. I love it. Yeah. So Marcio is the guy at RTS that does all the artwork, and guys, you can have your own page up there too. If you know someone who has content wants to be uncensored and have a secure page, send them to us or send them to RTS. directly, or me or Vika could definitely get you hooked up um, with Marcio over there. So it's definitely worth checking out, guys.
Oh yeah, big shout out to my brother Marcio David from RTS, the founder of RTS.
Yeah.
Yes, and to the whole team, like a big shout out and thanks. As I mentioned, that RTS is our sponsors, and they do a lot of stuff. As Gene mentioned, they have a whole like an alternative YouTube, we could call it, right?
Oh yeah.
Amazing stuff, and yeah, the thumbnails are great, and yeah, with collaboration with RTS, this surprise is coming. So make sure you guys stay tuned to our pages, right? So, yep, Gene, brother, last thoughts about the AI, and we're gonna be
AI,
wrap
yeah,
it up.
well, what a great conversation, brother. Very glad that you're able to put this together for us tonight. We had no guests, but that's all cool. I like doing the show, just the two of us, man. It's really fun. And AI, you never know where it's coming from next, guys. Right? We got automated vehicles. Aircraft are probably going to be a little more automated, I would imagine. Trains, planes, automobiles. That woman screaming on the plane, that thing is not real. Who knows what that was all about? But she's missing. Nobody's seen her after that or before that. So that could have been AI right there playing games with us and getting our thoughts directed in a certain area because they got that blue beam alien thing coming along, and if people don't get softened up to the idea of it, it might go south for them. So it's got to be brought in ways that they know we're going to accept it. So it's interesting. Yeah, be careful, guys. Be careful with what you're watching, and what you think is real, and why you think they're doing things. So a lot of fun, brother. Yeah, and you never know where they're coming from, what it could lead to, and what they're really doing with these phones. They really, really wanted us to have these phones, and they're pretty high tech as far as we could tell. But we could be the walking phones, right? We could be the walking remote controls, and 10 people or 100 people are really pushing the buttons behind our thoughts. But who knows? It's a lot of fun exploring these things with you, brother. And I really had a really good time tonight. And we're all looking forward to the surprise coming up. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. AI with a pinch of aliens. They're keeping the vibe going. The space sci-fi with aliens and with AI integrated. They're just building up great, like so. Oh yeah, they're gonna do what they are doing. And we have to go what we need to right do. So yep. So definitely the surprise. Yeah, in a couple of days, it's gonna be awesome. And apart from maybe the next week, maybe we're gonna elaborate more in details because you're gonna know things about this surprise. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Thanks, Gene, brother, for being here. Awesome show, definitely. And thank you, everybody in the chat for being here, and everyone who's watching or gonna watch on RTS this podcast. Yep. So thank you, everybody, for being here, brother. And Gene, you too, brother. And see you soon next week.
Absolutely. Looking forward. Looking forward. And we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot.
Oh yeah. Thanks everyone for being here. See you soon. Bye. Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Houston, we have a problem.